We are back with Noble McIntyre of McIntyre Law. Hello, sir.
How are you today?
Good. I have something first I'm going to get off my chest, and then we'll talk about something more serious.
Okay.
All right. So last night, MTV, it used to play videos, right?
It did. Great videos.
Yes. They had their Video Music Awards, but they don't play videos. So how can this be?
I mean, first of all, I want to go back to the original MTV era and those videos. Some of the greatest videos ever. That's what I grew up with. I agree with you. How are you giving a video award without having any videos to show? It's clearly just made up behind the scenes, I guess, at this point. Did they show any videos?
They did. No, they don't have any of that in their programming, unless maybe overnight they show an hour's worth, but I really don't know. But I don't think they do. So I guess you go to YouTube or something.
I guess. I mean, you certainly can go see some of these artists that put their videos out on their own, but I'm not sure why you would have an award show and not show the video of who won. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. They did a Katy Perry Video Vanguard Award, which, okay, radio doesn't play Katy Perry much anymore.
Right.
She doesn't have a video, although she's trying to make a comeback.
It did not go well, did it?
No.
That song did not go very well.
No, it didn't. So, and it used to be the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard, but they kind of got rid of that.
From Michael Jackson.
Yeah, so I just wonder, and maybe you know out there, how you could have a Video Music Awards and no videos on your channel.
I say we boycott next year.
I know.
We do a 2-person boycott.
I know, we should do that.
We should have our own video award show without showing videos.
See?
I'll let your video win, you let my video win.
Yeah,
perfect.
See?
Perfect.
We'll do that. All right. I knew I could count on you. No,
I'm on your team. I'm on your team.
Okay. Let's get a little bit serious now. We're talking about the marijuana laws in Oklahoma. It seems like every time I'm at a stop sign or stoplight, or when I go upstairs, I'm smelling marijuana. And I know that it's legal medical-wise, but not recreational-wise.
Right.
And people think that it is.
Well, unfortunately, it's very lax in Oklahoma. I mean, it's medicinal, but all you can get an online doctor's appointment with somebody and say that your back hurts, and they're going to prescribe it to you. So it's being used recreationally, even though the rules are that it has to be medicinal. I mean, I know a number of people that have their card that don't really have much of a medical issue, but they were able to say something. They had an anxiety or their back hurt, and the doctor just prescribed them the card. And so there's a lot of folks out there that have that card that really don't have the medical reasoning for it. But more to your point, yes, more and more people have a card in Oklahoma. More and more people are using it publicly, and it's going to be where you can smell it if they're smoking it. More people are doing gummy bears now, I think, than before. The question is how does that relate to an automobile accident type of deal?
Right.
Because with DUI, with alcohol, the officer has an objective test that they can take. You can do the breathalyzer, you can draw blood. On marijuana, yes, you can go draw blood, but it's difficult to show how the recency and time on which they consumed that, because alcohol leaves your system very quickly. A heavy marijuana user can stay in your system for 30 days. And so it's more difficult to prove that they were under the influence at the time of the crash just because it's in their blood. And so it's challenging. It's challenging. There's even been some car wrecks we've had where the judge will not let us bring into court the evidence that they had marijuana in their blood because we couldn't objectively prove that that actually affected them at the time of the crash, even though I knew that it had.
Right, and if you notice, a lot of employers will take some of your hair because it does stay in your system. It does stay in your system longer than other stuff, and stays in your hair longer, yes. Yeah, and there's some employers that you cannot, absolutely. Federal employees,
Firefighters,
like
firefighters, because you don't want firefighters rolling up under the influence of any amount, and since it's difficult to prove recency and timing when they took it, you just have to have a zero tolerance policy that you can't have any at all. Now, I will tell you, the NCAA, historically with athletes, you could be ruled ineligible for having any level of marijuana in your system, and they're backing away from that now because it's so accepted and so legal in some states that now they're having tolerance to that and saying, okay, you're an athlete, you took marijuana, that's not as bad as heroin or cocaine or something, so we'll be okay with that. And some states are trying to move marijuana from a Category 1 drug to a Category 2 or Category 3 to make it a lesser offense. But it is something that the general public has to deal with in terms of drivers who may be under the influence of marijuana when they cause the crash, and it's difficult to say that that's what caused the crash.
And it sounds good to say, hey, medical purposes, little kids that have seizures, it's great for, which is fine. And I'll admit, that's why I voted for it in the first place, when it first was on the ballot. And now, I don't know, I would hindsight's 2020.
Well, there's no question. So the opioid epidemic that swept this country and has killed thousands and thousands of people, and I'm involved in some of that litigation trying to hold them accountable. That's a pharmaceutical company that came up with a chemistry to create a pill that causes a tremendous amount of problems. In that respect, medicinal marijuana, if you can replace it with that pill, is good. I mean, there's a lot of people that I don't want them hooked on opioids. I'd rather them take, medicinal marijuana for pain. So in that setting, obviously that works very, very well. It's where you get into trouble is you get younger kids who really don't have the need, that are getting a medical card just for the purposes of doing it recreationally, and now they're out there on the roads and they hurt other people.
And you have babies that get into their parents' gummy bears thinking that they're really candy and
right.
and all of that.
That causes a real problem, and that has happened. That's not just a theory. That has really happened. There have been kids that have gotten into it and have gotten themselves hurt.
There's a lot to think about before we just jump ahead on certain things, and
Absolutely.
I realize that too.
Look at the state of Oregon pulling back. They had made every drug a misdemeanor for the last several years, and they have seen the effects of that, and drugs have just become rampant, and so this year they pulled back, and now it's a felony again for some of these drugs. It was a mistake to make heroin and cocaine and rohypnol a misdemeanor. You have to have some level of consequence or people are going to be out of control.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Always shedding light on things. It's Noble McIntyre of McIntyre Law. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.